how to make my no-bake mini egg cheesecake. One of the most famous recipes I've ever done, and honestly, one of my favorites. When making a no-bake cheesecake, there are very few rules you need to stick to. The base is probably the easiest bit, but I always like to use, especially on the mini egg cheesecake, a plain digestive. Doesn't matter what brand it is, supermarket owned or not, but a digestive creates the lovely base that's crunchy, stays together, and I just love it. If you wanted to use a chocolate base, if you want to use a chocolate digestive, you then need to start altering how much butter you add. So this is the simple ratio of double the amount of biscuits to butter. Perfect base. If you want to use a filled biscuit or chocolate biscuit, use 2/3 of the butter and then you'll get a lovely flavour of whichever biscuit you want. When you're making your biscuit base, you want to make the biscuits as fine a crumb as possible. I do use my food processor. I've had this one for about 20 years. It's still going strong, but it makes such a fine crumb that then you don't have any like lumps of biscuits basically causing a setting problem. If you don't have a food processor, you can just use a bag with a rolling pin or a bowl with the end of a rolling pin. But honestly, just make sure it's a lovely fine crumb. Once your biscuits are a fine crumb, you then want to add your butter. You can use a block butter that you've melted or a baking spread, but they both work. Honestly, it's the same. Just make sure it's nice and runny. You can do this in a microwave or on a pan. And there you have your biscuit base. Now my biscuits are ready, I'm going to pour them into the tin. This is an 8-inch springform tin, and honestly, it's the only one I'll use for a cheesecake. It's about 2.75 inches in depth, so it fits all of the cheesecake mix perfectly. Once the biscuit base is pressed down nice and firmly, we can make the filling. And this bit is where the rules come into play. So making a no-bake cheesecake, you have to use full fat ingredients. If you don't, you risk basically a sloppy mess that no one wants. So please use full fat. I tend to use a full fat soft cheese such as Philadelphia because that's like the classic cream cheese that you use. Any supermarket owned one works, or even mascarpone. If you use mascarpone, it's like a sweeter flavour if that's what you're after. The other bit you need to pay attention to is the double cream. In the UK, the fat percentage of double cream is about 47%, so it's really fatty, it helps it set itself. So if you're somewhere that doesn't have it, go for your fattiest liquid cream that you've got. Otherwise, all you need is some crushed mini eggs. I maybe use a pestle and mortar for this, or a bag with a rolling pin, some icing sugar, and of course some vanilla if you want it. When you're adding your double cream, I add it in liquid like this and just whisk until it's thick. If you're a little bit nervous, you can whisk the cream separately and fold through your mixture instead. And there you have a lovely thick cheesecake mix. Now your cheesecake mix is ready, you have to add it to your biscuit base. I like to pack it around the sides first so you get no gaps, and then fill in the middle and smooth it over. Don't be shy with it. Once your cheesecake is nice and full, you want to set it in the fridge. 5 to 6 hours is the minimum, but preferably you'll do it overnight and it gives it the perfect chance to set. Once it's all set, we can take it out of the tin and then decorate. When you take it out of the tin, you can smooth around the sides with a knife, just like this, just to make the sides look extra beautiful. So for the decoration, it's a simple mix of double cream and some icing sugar to make a lovely sweetened whipped cream topping. And then I just whisk them together. Nice and thick. So to decorate the cheesecake, I have some melted milk chocolate, but you can use whichever flavour you want, some sweetened whipped cream, and of course, some mini eggs. Just going to drizzle a little bit of chocolate on first. And there you have your no-bake mini egg cheesecake. It's one of my favourite desserts to make, of course, but I just love it. And I hope you do too. Enjoy.